On January 26, 1950, with a salute of 21 guns and the unfurling of the tricolour, President Dr. Rajendra Prasad inaugurated the self-made Constitution of Independent India. Witnessing the beginning of a new era were prominent figures like C. Rajgopalachari, Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Patel, who had seen the dawn of the independence just 3 years earlier. The nation, having achieved freedom, introduced its constitution, presenting itself to the world. However, the path was not easy. Delving into history reveals that the struggle for independence, along with the framing of the constitution and rights, posed formidable challenges. The opportunity arose during the First World War when a golden chance was offered through a plea for help from Britain. Indians eagerly accepted, hoping to gain freedom from the British rule. Once again, the British altered their stance, bringing the Government of India Act 1919, which led to a dual governance system in some major provinces. Subjects like health, education, and agriculture were handed over to a group of Indian ministers, while the areas of military, defense, and foreign affairs remained under the Viceroy's authority. Indians were assured that the effects of this act would be assessed in the future. This move by the British led to the formation of the Simon Commission, which entered India in 1928. The Simon Commission reviewed constitutional reforms in a dramatic fashion and prepared its report. However, the time had changed, and Indians were no longer swayed by the British maneuvers, as the demand for their own constitution and rights gradually took root. After the Simon Commission's report, nationwide protest erupted, prompting the British government to organize the Round Table Conference to find a peaceful solution. However, this attempt failed, as not all leaders from various sections of society participated. Nevertheless, as the British government continued its efforts to suppress the intentions of Indians, the courageous sons of the country had already prepared the groundwork for their constitution. In 1928, Motilal Nehru and 8 other Congress leaders drafted the constitution, the foundation of which was laid in the Karachi session of the Indian National Congress in 1921. Thus, the outline of the Constitution of Independent India began to take shape. The wheels of time kept turning, and then came the Government of India Act 1935, often referred to as the structural base of our Constitution. In other words, it became the foundation upon which the magnificent structure of the existing Constitution was built. The Act of 1935 brought independence to India, but with the advent of the independence, differences between the Muslim League and the Congress deepened, and even basic issues could not be resolved through negotiations. Although these disputes continued, Indian leaders were steadfast in pursuing their goals. During the Second World War in 1945, an agreement was reached among all parties to prepare a draft constitution. The draft included universal adult franchisee, freedom, and equality, along with special attention to safeguarding the rights of minorities. Simultaneously, the Quit India movement and the need for the Indian National Army shattered the dream of British rule in India forever. As the Indian national movement gained momentum, the pressure increased for the formation of a constituent assembly for constitution making. Amid this turmoil, on December 9, 1946, the first meeting of the Constituent Assembly took place in the Constitution Hall, New Delhi. Virtually every prominent personality associated with the national movement except Mahatma Gandhi was present. The Muslim League, however, boycotted the meeting, demanding the partition of India into 2 separate nations, India and Pakistan. Therefore, in the first session, a total of 207 members participated, where Dr. Sachidanand Sinha was elected as the interim chairman of the assembly. However, 2 days later, on December 11, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as the permanent chairman of the assembly, and Dr. 𝐻𝐶 Mukherjee and V.T. Krishnamachari were appointed as the vice chairs of the assembly. In this sequence, The golden day of August 15, 1947 arrived when India witnessed a new morning of independence, breaking the shackles of slavery. With enthusiasm among the citizens, the first Prime Minister of independent India, Jawaharlal Nehru, addressed the nation in a resounding voice. This historic speech was recorded as Tryst with Destiny. Along with this, the process of constitution making gained momentum. After independence, challenges increased as there was no shortage of material for the constitution, but the correct selection and proper interpretation posed a complex task. The draft of the constitution prepared by B.N. Rao was discussed by the Constituent Assembly, which on August 29, 1947 passed a resolution to form the drafting committee. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar was chosen as its chairman, and besides him, there were 6 more members in this committee. Several important decisions were made during the constitution-making process, including India's membership in the Commonwealth Group, the selection of the national flag, and the choice of the national anthem and national song. Interestingly, the preamble, which is the introductory statement of the Constitution, was the last to be passed. If the Constitution is a political and constitutional document, the preamble provides a philosophical perspective to this document. Under the leadership of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, the framers of the Constitution studied the constitutions of 60 countries and presented the final draft of the Constitution on November 4, 1948. After the Constitution was ready, the challenge arose of how to beautifully write it in elegant letters. In the midst of this dilemma, the name of Prem Bihari Narayan Raizada came forward. He was the most famous calligrapher of his time. Subsequently, under the guidance of Nand Lal Bose, artists from Shantiniketan adorned each page of the Constitution. In this way, in a total of 2 years, 11 months and 18 days, the Constitution of the world's largest democracy was prepared. Officially on November 26, 1949, the Constitution was passed with 284 members, including 15 women from the Constituent Assembly signing it. The decision was made to implement the Constitution on January 26, as on January 26, 1930, the proposal for complete independence was put forward during the Indian National Congress Lahore session. In history, this is also known as the First Republic Day. On January 26, in the cold of Delhi, Rajgopalachari declared in his words, India as a sovereign democratic republic, giving a patriotic message. Subsequently, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was sworn in as the first President of India. A public ceremony followed where President Dr. Rajendra Prasad and chief guest Indonesia's President Sukarno participated. In this way, January 26, 1950 got etched in the pages of history in golden letters. So friends, in today's episode, the story concludes here. We will meet again with a new episode and a new story. Until then, Jai Hind.